こんにちは、英語コーチの生田佳織です。Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video today. So I have a special guest today from Hawaii, and her name is Aiko Hemingway. She's a pronunciation coach, and she coaches advanced English learners who are in an English environment. And let's welcome her. Hi, Aiko-san.
Hi, Kaori-san. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming here today. And please, would you introduce yourself very quickly?
Sure. My name is Aiko Hemingway, and I am based in Hawaii right now, but I was born and raised in Japan, and I've lived in Northern California, Southern California, and also Vancouver, Canada, and now in Hawaii. And I've been in the US for 22 years now. I can't believe it. Time flies. So I came to the US when I was 23, and I didn't speak English at all at that time. So my journey started there, and I learned so much about English pronunciation. And now I coach Japanese clients who are working in an English environment to improve their English pronunciation.
Great, awesome. 20, how many years?
22.
Oh. And when you mentioned where you lived, I thought, wow, she really likes the areas with palm trees. Because the West Coast has a lot of palm trees, probably a little in Canada, I don't know, but definitely in Hawaii. So
Right. Maybe it was too cold, so we moved to a warmer place.
right. Hawaii is definitely the wonderful place. I never visited there, but I heard really good thing about Hawaii. Okay.
Yeah.
So today, what I want to talk about is how Aiko improved her English to the current level after coming to the States. So like you mentioned that 22 years ago, you came to the US and you couldn't speak English at all, but you improved your English, right? To the level where you could have, like a regular conversation comfortably. How many years did it take for you to go to that level?
Well, it took me 3 years, but I put myself into a complete English environment. So in Northern California, not San Francisco or Bay Area, 6 hours from San Francisco, it's 6 hours from San Francisco. It's above Lake Tahoe,
Okay.
right by Reno, Nevada. So in that small town, or I should say village, because it's called Susanville, there is a small community college, and then I was looking for a community college with no Japanese students from Japan. So I called the college and asked, how many Japanese students do you have? And they said 0. So I'm like, okay, so this is the college that I'm going to go to. And then I, studied for TOEFL. And I got the score, and then went to the college. So I spoke English all the time, but then I realized that my English level was like so bad, because I remember the first class that I was sitting in at the community college, I didn't understand even one word that the teacher said. I was like, I didn't even understand one word, maybe just a hello or something, just that's it. But the content, the material that she was talking about, I didn't understand anything. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do something about my English. So I practiced so much. I was like practicing and doing the dictation, shadowing, and trying to speak English as much as possible in the community. And then it took me 3 months to be able to start thinking in English only. So my dreams became English after 3 months. But my dreams were like, everything was in English in my dream. And my dreams were like, oh, I don't understand anything. that was really weird. But it took me 3 months to start thinking in English only, but it really took me 3 years to be able to have conversations comfortably with the people in the community. So after that, I moved to LA to go to a university because I wanted to become a music therapist. So I play music, I play piano, and I really love music. So I thought that that would be my career, and I got into the program in LA. But I got kicked out from that program after a year because the professor told me that, oh, your English is not good enough. So
is it for like for writing skills because the report wasn't good, or the speaking or listening?
speaking, everything, the communication, or it's something about my English, but then the professor told me that I cannot be a music therapist in the US because my English is not good enough. So he kicked me out.
Wow.
And then I was like totally lost. And then I discovered the field of accent reduction. And at that time, I didn't know about consonants or vowels, even though I copied how native English speakers spoke. I didn't know anything about vowels, or I didn't know anything about pronunciation. So I bought a book called The American Accent Guide. And I actually took lessons, personal lessons from the author, Beverly. And I learned all the vowels. Okay, so there are so many vowels. I didn't know that, something like that, right? And then I became fascinated about linguistics and phonetics. So I went to UCLA, majored in linguistics, and learned phonetics to perfect my English pronunciation.
Wow.
So I learned a lot about academic side of pronunciation. But after I graduated from UCLA, now I had my next career goal, which is to become a speech language pathologist. So I wanted to get into like a pre-program in order to become a pathologist, but I couldn't get into that program because the director of the program told me, not told me, but I heard that the director said that, oh, her English is not good enough. So in order to become a speech language pathologist in the US, I realized that my English level needed to be higher. Even though I was able to speak English with people, like with local people in the community, no problem. But when it comes to the profession, I needed to work on my pronunciation in the English. And then even though I graduated from UCLA, my English still sounded like Japanese. And I still remember that because people often asked me to repeat what I said because they didn't understand it right away, or I only understood 80% of what native English speakers said at the normal speed because it was so fast. And then I thought that was my limit. I thought that I couldn't improve more. And then I tried so many different things because I didn't just give up. I didn't want to give up just like this. And then later I discovered that, okay, so I need to work on something about breathing, because my voice, it's not just the pronunciation. My voice is different from Americans' voice. So what is it? So I started taking singing lessons by a teacher in Hawaii who knows about breathing. He knows so much about breathing, and he taught me a lot about it. And then I was in a choir where I was the only Japanese, and then with 100 singers. And then I was trying to hear the sounds that they produce, how they articulate consonants and vowels. And then I started realizing the dynamics of the sound which now I focus on air, vibration, and energy. So when I started working on those three, my English changed. So this is how I was able to come out of my shell to start sounding like I'm speaking English, because I was speaking English like this before. So I don't have any vibration or air in my voice, or maybe you don't feel any energy in my voice, right? Because 日本語、本当日本語のような感じの声。日本語のまま、right? So then when I speak English now, I change my voice. So I feel that I hear my voice from inside. So when I speak Japanese, I hear my voice from outside. But when I speak English, I hear my voice from inside. So everything changed about breathing when it comes to speaking English. So now I'm able to switch back and forth between Japanese and English, breathing like this. And then I started discovering this about 6 years ago. So this is what I teach now.
Okay, 6 years ago. Oh, wow. A lot of things just happened from like 22 years ago. Let's go back to the first part. I thought with that intensity of no Japanese student in the community college, and you practice so much with that intensity, I think 3 years is really amazing to be able to speak comfortably. But yet, like you said, you get kicked out of the program, right? And you get somebody told somebody, and then maybe you heard from the professor that your English was not good enough for a professional level. So I think it was amazing to hear that the English level that you were trying to achieve was definitely, it's definitely higher than many other English learners that they try to achieve. So I really think that one of the difference between someone who is really good English skill and okay English skill is their goal setting is totally different. How much they want to achieve, or how much they feel required to be able to speak that English. Like it's hard to tell, but it's just the standard itself, it's totally different. Yeah. But have you been always having that kind of high standard for yourself?
I wanted to. I think when I came to the US, I was young, right? So I was like, even though I didn't speak English, I was already a native English speaker inside. So I'm like, okay, so I am already speaking English fluently with other native speakers, other Americans. And then this is why I put myself into that situation where I had to speak English all day long, every day, because I'm not going to be able to use Japanese. So I guess that is because I heard a lot of Japanese people who come to the US, their English will not improve, or their English didn't improve because they spoke Japanese with other Japanese people. So I already had that information. So I'm like, no, I am gonna focus on speaking English. So I guess I already had the determination from the beginning. So I was that person already inside, but the reality was different. But that was okay. There was a gap between the reality and my dream and goals inside, right? So I just wanted to make that reality where I was imagining my goal and dream inside.
Wow, that's so cool, because yeah, you definitely have the higher standard. And then just listening to your story, that reminded me of nomi, mushino, the flea or tick. Have you ever heard that if you put the little bugs into the cage, if the bugs think this is the highest, they jump like this. But if you move these bugs to the bigger container, but they still jump like this because they think this is the highest. Do you know what I mean? Like, if the bugs think this is the higher point, right? This is the highest. They can't go any higher. Then they jump like this. But even when they are in a bigger cage, they still jump like this. So pretty much what that means is once they think that's the limitation, that's how they keep jumping, how they keep doing stuff. So I think that really applies to English learning thing, because if learner thinks that's the limitation, if the learner thinks this is how much I need to speak, right? This quality I need to speak, they just keep doing in this area. But if the person thinks like you and they need to speak like this much, then you will work towards it, right? You will try doing your best to get to the level. So I really think that really makes a huge difference between really successful English speakers and semi-successful English speakers. Yeah.
You are okay, so that was something that hit me, because there is a lot of scientific research papers on LNR on Japanese speakers. So they say, the scientists or linguists say that Japanese speakers will not acquire the listening or hearing ability of LNR. They cannot distinguish LNR if they don't acquire English before the age of 11 or around the age of 11. That's the scientific data said. And I learned that at UCLA. And at that time, I didn't hear the difference between LNR. And I also had a chance to talk with a Japanese person who came to the US when she was 14. And I asked her, do you hear the difference between LNR? And then she said, no, I don't. So I was like, oh, the scientific data was right? And then this is why I don't hear the difference between LNR. So I am not going to be able to hear the difference forever. But then after I started working on the dynamics of pronunciation, so air, vibration, and energy, I can hear the difference between LNR. So the scientific data was wrong. People can hear it, or Japanese can hear it even after the age of 11 when they focus on air, vibration, and energy. So I really want to work on this research paper in the future saying, hey, I can hear it. So this is how I was able to do it. So I really want to publish a research paper on this in the future. But you're right. If you think that you cannot do it, you cannot do it. But I did not give up. I didn't trust the scientific data or the evidence by the Japanese person who came to the US when she was 14. I did not give up on finding a way to be able to hear the difference between L and R. So I think I really want to achieve high like this. So I think we have so much power if we trust ourselves.
Yeah.
What I feel like.
Yeah, especially like scientific data, since it's the data, right? You believe, why not? Okay, this paper said so. Yeah, that's why I can't hear L and R, right? But that's like you close the door, believing the data is right. But like you say, you need to believe what you can do and your potential and your power. If you don't give up, you can definitely say the paper was totally wrong, right? But I think a lot of people tend to believe those kind of information, or yeah, but that was not the case with you. You kept going and you didn't give up. Okay. So my next question I really want to ask you is, so you said that was 6 years ago when you realized about the sound and everything. And I know that you are in you really like to join really high level community in the US where you are probably the only Japanese person in the group, and you have to speak up a lot of in a lot of situations. You were in a Toastmasters, you were in a American, like a business coaching program and other programs. And my question is, I think a lot of Japanese people can speak English, at a certain level, but they are really afraid to join those groups or communities because they have to speak a lot. They have to understand really fast English, right? So my question is, were you really scared at the beginning, or what pushed you to join those communities first?
So I guess so I went through the most painful experience first when I came to the US, because I was in a complete English environment. Everywhere I went in town, or everywhere, like every time I wanted to do something, I was the only Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone else was an American. Like some of them, they've never seen an Asian person.
Oh
so
my
like
goodness.
because it was like it was in a countryside, and then not many Japanese or not many Asian people are there. So and then when my English was really bad, some of them just ignored me. I was talking to them, but they ignored me. So whenever I went somewhere in town, or whenever I wanted to do something, I was the only Japanese. So I started from there. So also, so I didn't really understand what Americans were saying because they were speaking really fast. To me, like they were not speaking fast, but at that time they were speaking really fast to me. And then I did the dictation and shadowing using a movie called Friday. And in Friday, Chris Tucker was, do you know the movie Friday?
Never watched.
So Chris Tucker and Ice Cube, he speaks really, really fast, right? And then, but I was trying to understand what he was saying. And then I did that, and I tried to memorize the whole movie, taking 1.5 years. And then I was trying to copy it, shadow it. And then it was really hard at the beginning, but I was able to finish it in 1.5 years. So that was really painful. But after that, everything else became easier. So I went through that first. So I didn't really have so then after that, I don't have any mind block of, oh, maybe I'm gonna be the only Japanese in this group, something like that. I don't really have that mind block anymore because I went through the most painful experience.
Okay, that is so great. That is really great, because I think the key point was you started in that situation first, right? So that was kind of your normal, right? I think a lot of people trying to go there after everything is comfortable. I got used to it, and maybe when my English is really good, I might go there. But your starting point was really different. So that's really big. That's really a big start. And at the same time, like you said, you did the intensity kind of intense training for 1.5 years. So like you said, I think it really gives us a strong English skill. I keep doing it. I know this is hard and it's so painful. I don't want to continue doing it, but I will do it. And then once you complete it, after that, everything else looks like a whole different thing, whole different world, whole different scenery, because you did the training. And after that, everything goes really smooth and feels easier than the dictation training. So wow, that's an awesome. That's really great tips for everyone.
So you and I were in the same program before called TCP, Transformation Coaching Program.
Yes.
And Jim Fortin taught us, you want to be first, be, do, have, right? Because like I realized that a lot of people in the US, they say, oh, if I can speak English, then I will be working in an English environment and that, right? So they're trying to have first. They're trying to do have, do, be. And Jim always says that doesn't work. And then I see that it doesn't work. So I realized that I started with be, do, have. So I was already a native English speaker when I came to the US, even though the reality was very, very different. So I think starting with be, like who you are, being inside really gives you the opportunities, or it opens the doors to your future.
Exactly. That I think people have wrong order. Do, have, be, right?
And have, do, be.
Yeah, doesn't work. Because I remember when I started learning English when I was 19, I kind of had the be already. Like I thought I can do it, and I felt like I was already like pretending to be a good English speaker, even I didn't really have the skill. I kind of thought maybe I was optimistic, but I thought, yeah, I can do it, and I am already speaking it. And then that kind of thinking really helped me, because I started having that be first, and then I know I'm an English speaker, so I'm doing, because if I were English speaker, like a really good speaker, I would be using English every single day, right? So when I was in Japan, I kind of had a habit every day to use English, even in Tokyo, because my identity was already like bilingual. If I were bilingual living in the world, they probably will be doing this every day, so I'll do it, kind of thinking. So being really helps. Yeah, that's a great tips for shit. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. So the last question is, I think many people wonder, do you still practice your English every day?
Well, I practice pronunciation every day, and I'm in Toastmasters, so I give speeches. So prepare 5 to 7 minute speeches frequently. So of course, I practice English that way. And then also I practice pronunciation almost every day. And I discovered throat singing, Mongolian and Tuvan throat singing last year. It gave me more understanding of breathing and how to use the diaphragm. So I've been doing that singing exercise every day for at least 2 minutes. And then I'm taking lessons from a teacher in Mongolia to teach me throat singing too. And then I'm practicing some consonants lately, which are P, like P and then B and sound. I thought I got those consonants before, but I realized that I was missing some kick to the consonants. So I constantly look for something that I can improve more, even though I felt like I already know all about vowels and consonants,
Right.
but I am working on those sounds every day still.
Wow, that is so amazing. I think it's so important to learn from someone who is constantly trying to improve to the next level, because as an English coach, you can speak English, but if you stop here, there's so much you can teach, I feel, because you always trying to teach from your past, like how I learned English. You can't really teach them how you can keep improving your English if you're not really doing anything at this moment. So I think it's so important, especially pronunciation as well, to learn from someone like you who's constantly like evolving. That is really powerful. Wow, thank you so much. Okay, so I know you are teaching pronunciation to advanced learners. So how can they find you? And can you tell us where they can find you?
Yes, so I have a YouTube channel. I actually have two YouTube channels. One is for Japanese audience who want to improve their English pronunciation to the next level. And another one is for business coaching. And I provide business coaching in English. So I have some clients from Europe or Australia, from
Amazing.
Japan, or from the US, Canada. So that channel is all in English. And then I have a 3-day mini course for $25. And I'm focusing on air, vibration, and energy. I'm taking 3 days to teach those 3 things. And then at the end, you can send me a voice file where you're speaking English for 1 minute. And then I will give personal feedback to everyone that sends me that voice file. So I'm gonna provide a link. So if you are very, very serious about English pronunciation, take this course. It has so much more value than $25. But I want to provide this course to many people. So just try it out to see how you can learn about air, vibration, and energy so that your English will change in actually a short period of time. You don't have to take like 22 years, just like how I did, because I'm teaching all the stuff that took me 22 years. But my clients are improving so much faster because it took me, because it took me a while to figure out. So I can teach how you can do it faster.
Great. That is a special 3-day workshop. That is so much value in just $25. If you're missing out, what are you doing, right? All right. Thank you so much, Aiko-san, for joining this video today. It was so nice talking to you, and you gave so much tips to English learners today. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.